The year is 2060 and you are strolling through the bustling streets of Seoul. You take in the neon lights and towering skyscrapers until you notice something strange. There are hardly any young people around. Children have become a rare sight, and the average age of the population has surpassed 60. This dystopian vision of the future is not just science fiction. It's the stark reality that South Korea is facing right now. And things are getting worse. In 2023, South Korea's fertility rate plummeted to 0.72 children per woman, the lowest ever recorded in human history. At this rate, their population will shrink from today's 51 million to just 27 million people by 2060. By then, half of South Korea's population will be over 65 years old, turning the country into one of the oldest on Earth. This demographic disaster will send shockwaves throughout the world, reshaping everything from global politics to the future of the global economy. Join me as we uncover the shocking consequences of South Korea's population implosion. We'll explore why even rich countries like South Korea are powerless to stop this demographic collapse, and what the coming population collapse means for the future of South Korea and the world. Once known as the miracle on the Han River, South Korea's miraculous economic growth was driven by cheap labor, particularly young workers who fueled the nation's industrial boom after the Korean War. But today, an aging population and declining birth rates threaten to crush South Korea's economy. By 2040, South Korea's GDP is projected to drop by 30%, and with fewer young people entering the workforce, the country's tax base will shrink while the number of retirees needing pensions will increase dramatically. By 2060, more than 16 million South Koreans will live in poverty, reversing decades of progress and raising social unrest. South Korea's crisis goes beyond economics. The roots of the problem lie in deep societal changes. In the past, Korean culture placed great importance on respecting and caring for the elderly. However, modern influences have led to a shift in values with younger generations, prioritizing individual pursuits and delaying marriage and family planning. Furthermore, South Korea's highly competitive education system and intense work culture place immense pressure on young adults, making them reluctant to start families. The rising costs of raising a child, coupled with limited access to affordable housing and childcare, exacerbates the problem, creating a perfect storm that discourages childbearing. In response, the government has implemented policies like cash handouts and subsidized childcare to encourage procreation. But these measures have had little impact so far. South Korea's fertility rate continues to hit record lows. To make matters worse, the country's rapidly aging population strains public services and infrastructure. The number of centenarians in South Korea has increased by over 50% in the past decade, putting a heavy burden on healthcare resources. As life expectancy rises and medical care becomes more advanced, the demand for geriatric care is expected to soar. South Korea must urgently address the challenges posed by its aging population or risk facing a future marked by a severe economic decline, social upheaval, and a spiraling healthcare crisis. While South Korea grapples with its demographic crisis, the rest of East Asia is quickly following suit. Japan has been grappling with a shrinking population for years, and mainland China's population has already begun to decline. The implications of this trend extend far beyond East Asia. As the world's most populous country, China's population decline is a harbinger of what's to come for the entire planet. As China ages, its massive workforce will shrink, leading to decreased productivity and economic stagnation. This slowdown will have ripple effects across the globe, disrupting international trade and supply chains. Furthermore, the one-child policy implemented in China in the 1970s to control population growth has resulted in an imbalanced sex ratio at birth. There are now more men than women in China, which can lead to social instability. Unmarried men may face challenges in finding partners, potentially leading to increased migration and a surge in online communities and industries catering to single men. These disruptions don't end at China's borders. In fact, China's population decline is a wake-up call for the entire world. The global population, which reached 8 billion in 2023, is projected to continue growing. However, the pace of growth is slowing down. Many countries are experiencing similar demographic shifts with low birth rates and longer life expectancy. For example, the United States, South Korea's key ally, is also facing a fertility crisis. The American fertility rate has dropped from 2.1 children per woman in 1962, just 1.6 in 2020. If current trends persist, the U.S. population could stabilize around 400 million by the end of the century, roughly the same as today. This has profound implications for the U.S. economy and global standing. A smaller, aging population could lead to decreased innovation, slower economic growth, and strain on social safety net programs. South Korea's demographic collapse poses unique challenges due to its extreme circumstances. No other country has ever faced such a rapid and drastic population decline. To understand the gravity of the situation, consider the example of Latvia, which has the second lowest fertility rate in the world. Latvia's fertility rate is 1.3 children per woman compared to South Korea's 0.72. Though Latvia's numbers appear better, they still indicate a severe demographic crisis. Since 1990, Latvia's population has declined by 40% and is projected to drop by an additional 20% by 2050. Imagine what a drop of this magnitude would do to an economy twice the size of Latvia. That's the scale of the challenge South Korea faces. If South Korea were to follow the same trajectory as Latvia, it would lose over 20 million people by 2050, leaving just 25 million behind. This drastic reduction would lead to complete economic collapse, obliterating decades of hard-won progress. The ramifications go beyond South Korea's borders, destabilizing Northeast Asia and shaking the foundations of the global order. South Korea's demographic collapse threatens to engulf neighboring Japan and mainland China, triggering a domino effect of population declines across East Asia. Japan, already grappling with a shrinking population, could see its economy implode, sending shockwaves throughout the region. Mainland China's population, the world's largest, is also showing signs of decline, which will have global repercussions. As these nations face economic stagnation and social upheaval, the global balance of power will shift, reshaping alliances and sparking geopolitical turmoil. South Korea's demographic collapse holds chilling lessons for the rest of the world, serving as a cautionary tale of what lies ahead for aging societies worldwide. South Korea's population decline is a man-made disaster rooted in societal changes that discourage childbearing. Once hailed as the model for economic development, South Korea is now confronted with the unintended consequences of its success. Its citizens once benefited from a robust social safety net, world-class education, and ample job opportunities. But now these achievements contribute to the reluctance to have children. However, South Korea is not alone in facing these challenges. Japan, another East Asian nation, has long grappled with a shrinking population and an aging workforce. Its fertility rate has remained below the replacement level for decades, leading to concerns about the country's economic future. Mainland China, the world's most populous country, is also witnessing a decline in population growth due to its one-child policy implemented in the late 1970s. These examples underscore a global trend, with many developed countries experiencing similar demographic shifts. The implications of South Korea's population collapse extend far beyond its borders. As one of the world's leading exporters, South Korea's economic struggles will disrupt global trade and supply chains. Moreover, the country's alliance with the United States adds another layer of complexity. South Korea's demographic crisis has the potential to strain the U.S. economy and influence the global balance of power. Additionally, the spread of loneliness and social isolation resulting from the population decline can lead to increased mental health issues and decreased overall well-being. The breakdown of traditional family structures and support systems can exacerbate these problems, creating a vicious cycle of declining population, social fragmentation, and economic decline. The impact of South Korea's demographic collapse on its military readiness is a critical concern. A shrinking population means a smaller pool of eligible soldiers, potentially affecting the country's ability to defend itself against regional threats. This poses a significant challenge for maintaining security and stability in an already volatile region. As South Korea confronts these daunting challenges, it serves as a warning for other nations facing similar demographic trends. The need for proactive measures to address low birth rates, aging populations, and the future of the global workforce has never been more urgent. Despite the bleak outlook, there is hope for South Korea. If decisive action is taken, the country could turn the tide and chart a new course for its future. One crucial step is investing in education and training to ensure that the existing workforce is highly skilled and adaptable. Embracing automation and artificial intelligence can help offset the labor shortage and drive innovation. Furthermore, fostering a supportive environment for young families, including accessible childcare, affordable housing, and flexible work arrangements, is essential. By implementing these measures, South Korea can create a more sustainable future for itself and pave the way for a revival. Nonetheless, the road to recovery will be long and arduous, requiring unwavering commitment and a shared sense of purpose among South Koreans from all walks of life. Nevertheless, the task is daunting, and the consequences of inaction dire. South Korea's population collapse serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of human progress. It compels us to confront uncomfortable truths and take bold actions to shape a better future for ourselves and future generations.